Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. Got a video for modern dating here. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. See that? Ciao. It's Chow Time.
So I have dated a few divorced men. But my question is this. Every man that I have met who has been married said they will not ever consider marrying again. What have they done to you?
Took more than half our stuff.
Then I got served with papers to vacate my house within 10 days. Lost everything.
What men most regret after divorce. Oftentimes I hear from men that they wish they had tried harder, that they threw the towel in too soon.
She noticed that every single divorced man she went on a date with refused the possibility of marriage. It got her confused, and now she decided to seek answers on social media. She just wants to understand why they don't want to get married again.
Got married real young, and my first wife passed away. And then I waited, and then when I was like 40, I married, and I had 4 stepchildren. And
Married a single mother at 40.
I was working oil field construction, making about $28.40 an hour. Bought a motor home, bought a house, bought a fixer-upper house, you know, all the stuff, you know. And I worked, literally 7 days a week, 24/7. Try to keep my wife happy and take care of my stepchildren. And after about 10 years, she decided she wasn't happy. She wanted to leave. By that time, she'd already drawn her money out of the bank, hired a lawyer, and then I got served with papers to vacate my house within 10 days.
I know most wouldn't understand what he went through at that time. This is the type of situation you will never know until you are in that person's shoes.
Correct.
Being told out of nowhere that your partner wants a divorce and you have 10 days to leave your house would affect anyone on different levels.
The sheriffs came out and within that 10 days and told me I'd have to pack up my stuff and leave. And I started loading up my stereo system and things like that, and they said, no, only your personal effects. I was only allowed to take my clothes. And then I loaded them up in my pickup. In my pickup, sheriff came back again and said I couldn't take the pickup because it was in both our names and she had a need for it, even though she had a pickup and a car.
That was the sad part of it.
What the? Oh my God. Woosha. I get so upset at this. It's just the injustice of everything is just so crazy.
Imagine finding yourself in a position where you must live everything you worked your entire life for. It's not easy, and it seems like he wasn't able to get back on his feet yet. But hopefully, one day things will get better for him.
So I had to unload a pickup and stuff everything in a duffel bag, and that was it. I hitchhiked out with nothing, you know, and I hated God, I hated life, everything, you know, because I did the American dream, you know, went to church every Sunday and, you know, worked hard and everything, saved my money, you know, was a good citizen and lost everything.
I like to hear her version. Women rarely leave men, especially when they provide for the stepchildren.
What the hell are you talking about, women? You lying pieces of 304s, I swear.
Prenup all the way. You should have had a good lawyer to help you. You are such a kind and humble man. I am sorry to hear your sad story after all of your sacrifice and deeds, but don't lose hope in God. He is watching. Police picked me up at the park, and I was never allowed to return to my home or get my clothes. What happened to 50-50? This is one of the reasons those who went through a similar situation don't want to get into it again, as it doesn't make much sense. They reported that they ended up losing a lot, just like the guy on the video we just watched, and some of them weren't able to get back on their feet, and that is the sad part of this type of story, which is why they are...
There's a good chunk of men, again, in the grave or in prison because they couldn't get back up again.
Stepping back when it comes to it. Imagine a man who went through a similar situation as the guy in the video, and let's assume that he was lucky and was able to get back on his feet. So the question is, why would he be willing to do the same thing again? We all know that the likelihood of divorce is really high. Therefore, the probability of facing the same situation again is also on the same level. So what's the point? This is the reason those who are still willing to take this step are considering prenup. They are taking it more seriously as they no longer want to find themselves losing most things that took them years to acquire. If the guy in the video had a prenuptial agreement, maybe it would have given him the opportunity to keep some of his assets.
Agreed.
There is also another group that wants to be more casual when it comes to building a family. They don't see the point of getting into this agreement to be happy. They are well aware that many couples live happily without signing any contract.
There's a lot of MGTOWs now, and a lot of us in the manosphere that want relationships, want long-term relationship. We're just not gonna get married. We'll have kids. We'll do everything else, just no marriage, which is fine by me. I'm perfectly happy with that. I always push the marriage thing, is just because it does solidify things a little bit more, but I also don't like the laws that attach to marriage. I'm just used to like marriage in Asian countries. And maybe that's my thought process majority of the time when I'm thinking about it.
So this is another option people are currently choosing as it makes things simpler.
Divorced men, hear me. I need your opinion. Just come back from a date. Another divorced man, which is generally the way when you're in your 40s.
Makes sense.
So I have dated a few divorced men. But my question is this. Every man that I have met who has been married said they will not ever consider marrying again. Is this just the...
There's only one idiot out there, or a few of us that were still more willing, but again, I wouldn't want the contract of the government coming into it, but I still want what marriage represents.
And that I've met, or is this a general consensus?
This is
General
not just the guys she
consensus.
met, it's the reality of most divorced men. Since most usually don't have a good experience going through that process, they will do everything they can to avoid facing the same thing again. It also explains why every guy she went on a date with shared the same opinion.
What have they done to you? Some of us are lovely, and I'd love to get married. I've never been married. I mean, it's not a deal breaker, but what the...
After going through a divorce, I will never risk going through that again by remarrying. It's not so much the emotional trauma, but the financial aspect. Fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah.
Fool me
This is the saying. I love this saying.
twice, shame on me. Can't afford to lose half of half. I used to believe in marriage for love and stability, but actually, it's a financial arrangement and little else.
Yes,
Love and stability can exist outside of marriage.
correct.
Married 25 years, and ex decided she wanted to be single again. Not going through that again. Once you divorce, you realize that marriage doesn't really add anything to a relationship anymore, and
Nope.
certainly doesn't make it mean more. You can show commitment in
Especially for women. To men, we have this grand scheme of things that marriage is still a great and a great thing, but women do not see that anymore.
plenty of other ways. Every single guy she is referring to has a story to tell, and all her doubts would disappear if she had the time to listen to them. It would have made her understand why they have decided that marriage is no longer part of their to-do list. They have done it once, and that was it. As human beings, we have the capacity to analyze things and determine whether we want to repeat whatever we have done in the past. So if we have a good experience, we are more likely to do it again. But when we have a bad one, this is when we will keep ourselves far from that possibility. Therefore, their response proves that they are part of the group of men who weren't happy with the way their divorce unfolded. By reading the comment section, I noticed that most men reported the same thing. The main reason they don't want to go to a second round has nothing to do with the emotional trauma or anything related to feeling. It's mostly the financial aspect of it. This is where the divorce weighed heavily on them, and this is not something they want to go through again. But I bet anyone would understand their position if they were in their shoes.
I'm sure there's some that have custody battles and things like that, which are detrimental to your own mental health and your kids' mental health.
What men most regret after divorce. Oftentimes I hear from men that they wish they had tried harder, that they threw the towel in too soon.
I don't know where she got those reasons from, but we will check the comment section and see firsthand the most common regrets guys have when it comes to divorce.
They weren't receptive to suggestions to going to therapy, and they failed to appreciate the severity of their spouse's concerns. I would encourage men to engage in thoughtful consideration prior to throwing in the towel.
Shut the hell up, you lying piece of
Explore therapeutic services and keep a candid conversation going.
Biggest regret after my divorce: getting married.
Yeah.
Understood. However, it's not men online crying about leaving their family.
Yep.
My biggest regret is not getting divorced sooner. You ain't heard nothing that sound like that. The men in these comments, I just don't get it. Biggest regret was not getting a prenup. It was interesting that she came up with those reasons, but based on the comment section alone, we can't see any of them. So it's clear that she most likely used women's, thinking that
Projection.
we regret the same thing. But the reality is that guys have different regrets, and some stated theirs was signing that paper.
Oftentimes I hear from men that they wish they had tried harder, that they threw the towel in too soon.
This was the least possible regret a man
Right?
would have. I am still waiting for a video of a man talking about the stage he regretted not giving more time to his relationship, the time he felt like he gave up too soon. The reality is that most men are never the first to give up on their relationship or marriage. It's the opposite. In some cases, they stated they did without having a deep thought on the matter, and as a result, they found themselves in a position where they missed what they had. At that point, they realized that they left a relationship that still had legs to keep going.
Yep.
But due to their willingness to try something new, they left prematurely.
What do I get in a marriage that I can't get from a long-term monogamous relationship?
The security.
What security? I would actually.
Security.
I
What does
actually
security
think,
mean in a marriage? Like,
no, but
what's
I could just make the argument. I can make the argument that simply by virtue of me getting married, I've now introduced an incentive to the woman. Let's say unless a woman's making a lot of money, I'm probably going to be out earning her significantly. So by marrying her, I've now introduced an incentive where if she does divorce me, and we've been married for a long enough period of time, she gets a financial payment for divorcing me. Whereas if she breaks up with me and we're in a relationship, then she actually has a loss on her end.
So are you scared of relationships?
Not scared of
or
relationships at all.
That is a valid point. Most of them know he is 100% correct.
Most of them know that they're not willing to sacrifice the things that men are sacrificing in marriages, because most of them don't do that. That's why they can't see it, because they don't got empathy.
Those who want to have that level of commitment with each other can go ahead and sign that contract, but it's not a guarantee that they will have a successful relationship. Also, as Brian said, what can someone get from a marriage that they can't get from a monogamous relationship?
It's true.
They know the answer. There is no difference. So this is another reason why it's not needed. Many were able to make it happily without having to take that step. He also touched on another very important point, which is the fact that it can be seen as an incentive for separation, as one of the parties is well aware that things will go in their favor if they decide to leave.
I mean, all those broke, dusty, musty crusties looking for rich men or well-off men, do we all not know that they're gold diggers and waiting to divorce these men for their finances? That's literally the playbook of modern women.
Welcome to our self-development section. Today we will talk about decisions. It was considered to be the main reason why most haven't achieved their goals yet.
100%.
So you will need to make the right
do
one
it.
if you ever want to succeed. While listening to what I am saying, I want you guys to take your time and look at this image. Think about your own life, the things you could have done but decided not to, and this is the reason why you never got them. Based on that image, you already know what you should do in any situation you have doubt.
Give it a try. Stumble forward. Stay confused. You want to do YouTube? Do it. Learn how to edit. Learn how to freaking do lighting. Learn how to do sound. Sounds is important, guys, because obviously I'm very shitty at it. My bad. But get to it. Sometimes people overthink things. They underthink things. They they underestimate themselves and they just don't end up doing it. And all you got to do is just try. And sometimes something triggers and it's like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that hard. I took the first step already. I just have to keep walking forward.
If you are in a position where you don't know what to do, or if you're afraid of failing, I need you to remember this image. As it clearly shows, if you don't try, you must understand that you already failed by default.
100%.
But if you decide to try, at least you will give yourself a chance to achieve what you want. What do you have to lose? So make sure you make the right choice when the time comes.
They always say, you miss all the shots you never take. That's exactly what this is. A lot of people always dream and think about their little side business, their little entrepreneurship and things like that. They dream about it, but they never actually try it. Never actually put in the work to see where it can go. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time.